I thought this was a really well done piece. I thought it had a very powerful message at the core of it in terms of people trying to engage in a process of self awareness, of taking inventory and stock of what is going on in your life, what's happened to you, some of the trauma that people have gone through. They really had nothing to do with it. They didn't participate in it. It was done to them at a very young age, and it's very difficult. I thought the piece really was good at highlighting this, how difficult it is for a lot of people to deal with that kind of trauma as they get turned into adults, because they haven't really interrogated it when they were younger, and they have sort of gone older and let those things sort of be an undercurrent within their lives that they haven't engaged with, and it's ended up creating a lot of problems. And I thought that there was a very interesting dynamic built around how do you help people who have gone down a disordered mental road or having a lot of mental trauma, as opposed to just sort of pushing them away and assuming that they're ruined. How do you find a way to help them become better, not just to the previous version of themselves, but the best version of themselves? And I thought the piece used a lot of the personal stories of the subjects in that way. That really created a very inspirational message in terms of the work they put in and the process they have to go through to grow past these things that have gone on in their lives that have really affected how they were able to create bonds or romantically, platonically, and in terms of their work and their career, and just how they're able to form their identity despite what's gone on in their past. So I thought that the piece had a great message in terms of taking control of your life and your mental health. And I thought that it gave a lot of interesting options of how the community of survivors can help each other, and sort of seeking out help is a great way to bond with other people that have gone through what you've gone through. It allows you to sort of move through your own troubles in a way that's more effective and more sustainable over time. So I thought it was a well done piece and had a strong intent that I thought worked for a wide audience and is something that's relatable to all kinds of people.
It gave us a very unique opportunity to take a close look into what the healing process looks like for different people in different situations, from beginning to end. We're never done healing, but the end of their participation in this program. Um, I commend everyone for allowing us into that experience with them. I know that that must have been incredibly vulnerable, sharing their lives and their hearts and their families with us. I thought this film was inspiring and beautiful and heartbreaking and so real and raw and honest and vulnerable. And you can see the difference that it has had on these people's lives throughout the journey, but then also at the end where we kind of get a little bit of an update as to where they are now, and how much they were able to get out of the process. Um, I really also liked the addition of kind of having that like dramatic um, interpretation scene for everybody, where they kind of reenacted their trauma in a creative way, and then getting to see them come out the other side, and like what that healing and growth process like looks like on the other side of it. And I thought that that was a really cool element to kind of put like a really beautiful symbolic lens over such a difficult time. And it just adds this creative element that I think really um, adds something special to the documentary.
I feel like we have gotten to know quite a few well rounded individuals coming from different backgrounds, sharing different yet similar lines of disparity, trying to do whatever it takes to go about their healing journey. We see them at different points, and we kind of see them at their shining light and at their darkest points. And it's really beautiful to be able to see that, connect with that. We need tangibility to know that we are not alone on this journey. And what a beautiful way to kind of have not only this honest and raw storytelling taking place and this medical research taking a foot and being able to witness that, but we also have these creative aspects that they take within the piece. Being able to see someone drowning in the water, or holding on to their inner child, so to speak. We get to see all of these different layers of creativity that each person gets to express in their own way in the piece. I feel like I connected with each character, even the therapist herself, as she decides, knowingly aware that she's going to be able to not fully have this moment where she's with her family as she's a part of this project. I thought that this is very relevant. I think we need to continue normalizing mental health and showcasing that it should be part of our everyday, and everybody wants to know how to thrive and find happiness. And if we can see that we're not alone and be able to discover that truth for ourselves, that's just a beautiful journey in itself.
I just want to thank, the filmmakers and everyone involved for letting us get a firsthand view of these different traumas that all of these survivors have gone with, and letting us in on that journey to healing. And that's what this piece is about. How each of these individuals go through healing, and what that journey looks like, and where it kind of ends and leaves off at the end of the piece, and how they go through it and go on with the rest of their lives. I think it was a really great look at that, and really inspiring and brave to see. I think you do a great job of showing each of their stories and their narrative, and I think it was really interesting to see them act out these different situations that they've been put through, and to really see the full impact of that. It was like a very emotional piece, and this documentary draws a lot upon like the emotional aspect of it, but it's also incredibly informative about the healing process and going through all of that. And it comes out being just a really, really beautiful, well put together piece.
There is no cure for a mental illness. What there is essentially learning to live with your mental illness. And that's what I think makes this documentary so important. Is the answer is not to find a way to make it go away forever, because it won't. But what you can do is change your perspective on it. You can change how you view the mental illness and how it affects you. I think that's very important, because if you can learn how it works and how you can overcome those negative thoughts, those intrusive thoughts, those impulses, those triggers, those anxieties, it makes living that much more bearable. And I also liked that they were honest with the fact that, even with this, it wasn't for everyone. For the hospital worker, his biggest issue is that you can give advice on all of the mental, internal groundwork, but when you're in that environment, unfortunately, the only real solution is to remove yourself from that environment, because you can have all the tools at your disposal, but being in that environment day in, day out, you're going to still have to deal with it. So I definitely liked that they were still very transparent, that even though he tried what everyone else tried, he felt like he still didn't get the same result, because that's one of the truths about therapy. Sometimes certain therapists it doesn't work out. It's not compatible, but that doesn't mean that all therapists aren't compatible. It just means you might want a different approach, because everyone's different, and what might work for some people might not work for others. But at the end of the day, the biggest goal is changing that perception, changing that narrative on your outlook on everything, because it makes that much of a difference.
It was nice to see everybody and their stories and how those played out. The dramatic reenactment parts looked really good. Those were done really well. the overall idea and premise of this was articulated well. I understood what was happening throughout. And the overall production looked great. So everybody interviewed really nicely. It was nicely directed. It was well shot, edited, nice use of music. Again, just the ideas were just presented in a very succinct and in a good way that it was easy to understand.